Hi guys, this is the Bosch Universal Plus mixer. Bosch sent me this sample so I could show you how it works. Some of you have been asking to see this, so here it is. This mixer has an 800 watt motor, which is under the bowl. This is the opposite of how most mixers like the KitchenAid are designed. The motor is on top. The weight of this mixer is about 13 pounds compared to 25 for the KitchenAid. This unit measures 10.6 inches in height, 15.5 inches across, and 12 inches deep. The cord length is 33 inches. If you want to put this cord away, you can push it into the slot in the back. There are 4 suction feet so the mixer won't move around. There are also black rubber feet. The base is going to sit on its side to use certain attachments. Included with the unit is the base, 6.5 quart mixing bowl. There's a dough hook with a dough hook extender. You can use this for smaller batches, but you can always use it no matter if it's a small amount or a large amount that you're making. There are 2 beating whisks included. These can be used to beat egg whites, whipped cream, and for thin batters. You can also use this to cream soft butter and sugar. This is the plastic driver that the 2 whisks attach to. Just push each of them in. And this fits right on top of the shaft. Just push it down. Here is the splash ring. This is the lid, a plastic spatula. There is an instruction manual and a manual with a recipe book. There are tips on baking bread, recipe for basic whole wheat bread, white bread and cinnamon rolls, cupcakes and meringue, gluten-free cookies, cake and cobbler, and potatoes. There are lots of accessories that you can purchase separately, including a food processor, blender, paddles, ice cream maker, meat grinder, pasta rollers, and slicer shredders, a citrus juicer, bowl scraper, pretty much all the attachments that are available if you buy a KitchenAid. There are some recipes in this manual for cookies, cake batter, pancakes, and bread. There's a table on how to use the dough hook and the whisk assembly with the ingredients, speed to use, time, and maximum amount. So for egg whites, you can actually use just 1 egg white at speed 4 for about 1 minute, and the maximum amount of eggs is 20. Whipped cream is 1 cup, and the maximum is approximately 6 cups. With the dough hook, you can make 10 1-pound loaves. That's a lot of bread. I will show you how to make bread, but I don't think I'm going to make 10 loaves. Just position it in the middle and turn it counterclockwise to make sure it's seated properly. Line up the extender and the dough hook and put it on the shaft. Turn it clockwise until it stops. It's going to drop a little, and that means it's seated properly. There are 4 tabs on the bowl, and they'll fit into these slots here. Turn it to lock. This is the lid. It also has tabs that go into the slots. Turn it counterclockwise to close. To remove, turn and take the lid off. Splash guard, dough hook and extender. Turn the bowl and lift it up. Switching attachments is easy because it just fits right on top and you can pull it up. The mixer has 4 speeds, lowest 1 to highest 4, off, and M, which is for pulse. To use the pulse function, just like a food processor, you would turn and hold it there. This Bosch has 2 drives, a high-speed drive for the blender attachment that's sold separately, and the high torque drive that powers the mixing bowl. Again, the motor is 800 watts, it's very powerful, and it sits under the bowl. If you're not using the blender here, this cover has to be on. Without the cover on, the mixer's not going to work. When you first get the unit, wash all parts in warm soapy water and dry. The bowl, the dough hook, the extender, splash cover and lid, and the whisks. For cleaning, the dough hook has to be washed in warm soapy water and dried. It's not dishwasher safe. The bowl, splash cover, lid, and the whisks are dishwasher safe. The base can be wiped with a damp cloth and dried. The drive shaft can also be removed for cleaning. Just turn this and it'll come out. dry it really well, and lock it back into place. With this unit, you can add all the ingredients at once with liquids first and then mix. If you need to add extra ingredients, you can turn down the speed, remove the cover, and maybe add nuts or chocolate and then put the cover back on. This saves you a little time since you don't have to add each ingredient, wait for it to be incorporated, and then add the next. Let's make wheat bread. I've got my big bag of wheat flour and I'm gonna measure it out. The way most people measure, each cup is gonna be about 5 ounces or 143 grams. That's 6 cups, 30 ounces, or 852 grams. I'll measure out the rest of the flour. 6 cups is what I'm going to put at first with the liquid, then I'll add the remaining flour. I've measured out 8 cups, 40 ounces, 1.1 kilograms. Now I'll measure out some oil and honey. For the liquid, you can use milk, water, or a combination of both. I'm using instant yeast. When you're making bread with this mixture, add all of the ingredients to the bowl with half the flour in the recipe. Mix that all up, then you can add the remaining flour a little bit at a time. Then knead. That's the procedure for making dough in this mixture. I just opened this packet of yeast. It expires in 2022, but since I'm using so much flour, just to be on the safe side, I am going to bloom it first. So I'm going to add the warm water and yeast to the bowl first. Leave it for a few minutes. This way I know the yeast is good. If you're sure your yeast is good, you don't have to do that step. I'll pour in the water first. It should be about 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius. And the yeast. The yeast is already bubbling a little bit, so it's good. I don't have to wait any longer to add the rest of the ingredients. I'll add the oil and honey. Add the flour, 6 cups. I already mixed salt into the flour. Put the cover on. Pulse it a few times. And put it on speed 1. Now that it's mixed well, we can add the rest of the flour. I'll add it on speed 1. All the flour is incorporated. It's sticky, so I'm going to add more flour. See, it's coming off the sides. Still a little bit sticky. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more flour. That looks good. You can see it's clearing the side of the bowl and it's not very sticky anymore. It's a tiny bit sticky, but that's fine. Now I'm going to turn the mixer to speed 2 to really knead the dough. I've kneaded it for 8 minutes. Generally, you need anywhere from 6 to 8 minutes. There's a teeny bit of flour along the rim, but the sides of the bowls are very clean. The noise while kneading is comparable to a KitchenAid stand mixer. This is more of a dull noise though. The KitchenAid sometimes makes a whining, high-pitched noise. It's not hard on your ears. The unit is a little warm to the touch. Other stand mixers do get very warm or even hot after 10 minutes of use. This Bosch is just slightly warm, which is a good sign. It really is designed to handle heavy dough. I'm going to oil the surface, put the dough on it, and then divide it. Just knead it a few times. Now you can divide up the dough, put them into your loaf pans or any other pans. Loaf pan is a traditional pan used to bake bread. You can use any shape you want. Make sure you grease whatever pan you're using. If you're going to divide this evenly into loaf pans, just make sure you weigh it first so you get the exact same amount. Cover the pan and let it rise until it's doubled in size, about an hour. Then you can bake it in a 350-degree heated oven for about 30 minutes or until the internal temperature is 190 degrees Fahrenheit. Take the bread out of the pan and let cool on a rack. You can also butter the top of the bread. It's really hearty wheat bread. If you like a lighter bread, add half all-purpose flour and half of the wheat flour. If you don't want to bake everything right away, you can refrigerate the dough or even freeze it and use it later. With this dough you can make rolls, buns, cinnamon rolls, whatever you'd like. I use some of the dough to make cinnamon rolls. I've never made cinnamon rolls with wheat dough. I rolled out the dough into a rectangle, spread soft butter over it, sprinkled it with brown sugar and cinnamon. You can of course add raisins or nuts if you like, pressed it on and rolled it up. Use dental floss to cut neatly. Put them in an oiled pan. Cover and let rise until doubled. Then you can bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for about 25 minutes. I don't put any icing on them because they are sweet enough. If you turn them over, they're already glazed with the melted sugar and butter. My daughter, who's used to eating the regular fluffy cinnamon rolls made with white flour, said these were tasty, so they're worth making. Remember, there's no milk or eggs in this recipe, so they won't be as soft as the standard cinnamon rolls. But for a wheat version, this is really good. I like the height of the mixer. It's not tall, so I can fit it under my cabinets, and there's no head to tilt. It's also lightweight for being such a powerful mixer. You saw that it was easy to use. There's a large, wide opening on top, so it's hard to spill flour and other ingredients as you add them. You have plenty of space so you don't make a mess. I'll do another video making cookie dough and whipped cream, maybe cake batter too since I have some accessories. Subscribe to stay tuned for that. If you want to get this Bosch, I'll put a link right below this video. I hope this video was useful. If it was, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.